Alright, man, what is good, YouTube? It is your boy Manny back with another YouTube tutorial. Today we're gonna be going through another Nardo Wick slash like Money Man or Anti the Menace, that kind of a dark trap type beat. I'm gonna take you through a recent sample that I just made, and then we're gonna cook up with it. Okay, so the key thing that I have been learning with these melodies is for these dark ones, man, you don't need to do anything crazy at all. So like, keep it super simple. I say this in every single fucking video, man. Keep it super simple, and just, you know, add several kind of elements without doing too much. You know, you can have and I'll get into it during the video as well, and show you sort of like counter melodies and stuff that I've got in there that they're just so basic, but they work. First thing first, I came in and I added this. This is from Hybrid Keys, I believe. I think it's from Hybrid Keys. And it is this sound here. I initially made the sample in C minor. But since with mastering effects, which are currently on, it's technically playing at D minor. So this is what it sounded like, and this is what I initially based the sample off. Super simple. It's just it's down at the 4th octave for like the verse and the intro, and for the chorus I brought it up an octave to the 5th octave, and so like when you put it up for the chorus bit, it sounds like this. So yeah, that was just the first thing I put down. I'll go through the mixing effects and mastering effects towards the end of the loop. But the next thing I put down was these deep piano chords, deep piano notes. So it's just playing a C2 and a C3, and altogether that sounds like this. As I said, man, super simple. It's literally just playing a C with the little bit there, just to give it some rhythm. But yeah, I have no mixing effects on that either. That's just dry. And what I did was I turned the lowest note up to like max velocity, and then I turned the higher pitch note. So if I remove this lower note here, bring this one here back, you'll hear the difference. So this is playing way louder and way harder than this up here, but it's still there just to give it a wee bit more depth, I guess. Depth would be the word. So next up, I came in, and this sound here is also from Hybrid Keys. It's a piano preset in Hybrid Keys, and this is what that sounds like. Super simple, super repetitive, but the way you get these kinds of melodies to work is you can have these repetitive melodies. Because of the fact you're going to have all these other elements, you can sort of take away certain elements and just sort of replace them with other ones, and it's going to sound fine. Like, it doesn't have to be super complex. So if I pull up a scale right here, all the white notes here are in the C minor scale. So all I've done is I'm just trying to use notes that are as close together as possible to give it like a tense vibe. So we've gone C to D sharp, and then down one semitone to the D, and then for the end of that bit, I've just gone D sharp, D to the G, and that just repeats over 3 times until the end here, just to give it that tense sort of dark feel, I've just added a G sharp down to the G before it. It just gives it that spooky kind of vibe to it. So next up was this weird sound I found in Analog Lab. I think it's a bell technically, but that just sounds like this. It's super hidden in the background. You can barely even hear it in the loop, but it is there and it does come and go. It's so basic, it's not even funny. Like it's actually like a 5-year-old could jot these notes down on a piano roll. But guess what? It fucking works. Next up, we had, this is actually probably my favorite part of the loop. This here is just I think it's just a pad that I found in Analog Lab. It's a pad called Dark Liquid in Analog Lab. It says it's keys. It just fucking ignore that. It's a pad. And I'm literally just playing a C minor chord. That's it. I just play a C minor chord 4 times, and then with the effects, it sounds really cool. So this is what that sounds like. And then all together with all the other elements, it sounds like this. Next up, I have another pad here. So with the other pad that is playing, this one up here, this is playing on the 1 and the 3. So like it just plays constantly, right? Starts on the 1 and just lasts two bars and then just repeats and repeats. So I wanted to add something else, kind of texture that and sort of go in sync with it. And just come in certain parts. So I've got another pad from Analog Lab here, and I play the exact same chord. It's just a C minor chord, but instead of playing it on the 1, I'm playing it on the 2 and the 4. And so that sounds like this. I'll play it solo first. Super spooky, super ambient, which is exactly what we're going for. But when you play it together with this pad here, it sounds like this. Super cool. After I was finished up with that element, I went through and I added some textures and sort of like percussive elements. And then I added these 2 accents down here, down the bottom. But those 2 accents I will get to in a moment. I'll show you them as last. But with the sort of textures and percussion, I just added this percussion loop here. This is just like, this texture here is just sort of like air in the background. It's super, super quiet. You couldn't tell, even if you had a trained ear, you couldn't tell. It just sits on like 5% volume or something stupid. But believe it or not, you can actually tell the difference. And this here is just a texture from a producer grind kit. I've used it in a couple loops actually, just because when I'm doing these Nardo ones, I can just put it in every single one pretty much. And it'll always sound good. It's just got a spooky kind of, well, it's a spooky piano really. So yeah, I'll play that for you here. Super simple. So after I was done with that, last thing I wanted to add was just like an accent, and well, I actually added 2 accents. So the first accent, some would say this is overdoing it. It probably is. I don't care. Sue me. But this is the 2 accents I added. Those are the 2 accents I added. Sounds super cool. when you play it in with the actual loop, just really makes it sound like a finished product. So I'll play the whole thing together here again, and then I'll get into the mixing effects. Okay, so I am over here in the mixer, and I'll just give you a quick run through of everything I did. If you've seen my other tutorials, it's going to be very similar to all the other tutorials that I put out there when it comes to the mixing. It's literally just find some effects that sound cool, copy and paste them over, adjust them for the sound. If they need it, like, so just go through with each plugin and be like, okay, this does sound cool here, but that delay that I've got there doesn't work on the sound. I'm going to remove that delay, that kind of a thing. This first sound here, this is just for the low piano, so I don't have anything on it other than leveling. The next here, this is the piano. And so for the piano, I'm just cutting the lows at 80 hertz and the highs at about 5.5k. And that's just because if I were to, I mean, the sound was cool, but it had a lot of that static that you can hear, and I didn't want so much of that. Like if I move this all the way up, I didn't want that. I wanted it to sound kind of cut off a little bit. Next thing I added was the Sketch Cassette 2. I just put it on type 1 value, and then I just turned the wow and flutter up a tiny bit. Next thing I added was a Chorus June 6 on detuned. If you're going for these dark melodies and you do have access to Chorus June 6, man, chuck a detune preset on there. It changes the vibe completely. Next thing I added was this Good Hertz Trim Control 3, just at 25% depth as always, just to give it a wee bit more wave. I added a Valhalla Vintage Verb with the Dark Plate preset, and then I just changed the settings accordingly. So just have a 0.8 ms pre-delay and a 1.6 second delay. So gone through and cut out the low on the reverb, so anything under 200 hertz isn't going to get reverb on it. I then just added a Pancake 2 on about 25% mix. Okay, so next up I had the counter melody piano. Exact same sort of stuff over here. I just cut the low, anything under 200 hertz I didn't need because it's a high pitched sound. And I cut some of the highs too, because I think it was just a little bit like harsh. I think I had some frequencies that were just a bit so if I move the EQ up, yeah, I'm just cutting out a real tiny bit of it. I added a halftime on about 25%. Sketch Cassette on the same settings. So type 1 value. Just turn the wow and the flutter up a tiny bit. Chorus June 6 on detune. Trim Control on 25%. Valhalla with the Dark Plate. It's the exact same reverb settings, except I turned the mix up to 50%. And then we have a Pancake 2 on 35%. So this is just something I like to do with all my melodies. Just add Pancake on things so that they move around and add different mix values. So it just gives a little bit of movement. So for that bell, I had a EQ cutting out anything under 100 hertz. There's not much there anyway, but I just did it as a precaution, really. I added a Chorus June 6. Detune. You're noticing a trend here. Trim Control 25%, and then I added a portal on this just to give it a bit of a spooky kind of feeling. That was from the Oblivion Portal bank. Plate reverb, just changed the mix to 60, and a Pancake on 35%. Okay, so next up, this is the pad I showed you guys earlier, which is just playing on the 1 and the 3 over and over again. And that has got the exact same mixer preset. Just adjusted the EQ, exact same Sketch Cassette settings, Chorus June 6 on detune, Trim Control. This has got a portal on the Nardo preset, yeah. So it's got a portal on the Nardo preset, which is in the Sapphire portal bank. Next up, just had a reverb on 50% mix, exact same settings. Pancake, 35% mix. Then this is the second pad that we have here that plays sort of in sync with it, and it has the exact same settings as the other one, except I've adjusted it for the sound. Next up, we just have the textures over here, which have nothing on them, and I've just leveled them pretty much just so they're in the background. For the main accent, which is this one down here, I just had a Pro Q3, a sketch cassette on the exact same settings, a Chorus Tune 6 on D-Tune, trim control, reverb, pancake. I didn't put a portal on it because it was already a cool sound, didn't really need it. And then I did the exact same thing over here, except on the second accent, except nothing. It's the exact same. I've just adjusted the settings. Lastly, guys, for the master effects on this loop, all I did was I pitched it up from C minor to D minor, and then I used a sound shifter to pitch it up 12 and a sound shifter to pitch it down 12 again. Sort of loses a little bit of frequencies and that kind of stuff. If you've seen my other tutorials, you'll know I do this all the time. Highly recommend you try it out. Can completely change the way a sample sounds. Yeah, so that is it for the mixing. I'll take you guys through to the arrangement real quick, and then we will cook up. So for the arrangement on this one, I just went for an 8-bar intro, 16-bar chorus, into a 24-bar verse, and that just repeats over twice for another chorus and then an outro. Ignore the fact that I've actually mucked up the arrangement here and I forgot to put a chorus. I will quickly edit that and then I'll render it out and we'll cook up. Okay, so that is it for this video, guys. Hope you did enjoy and or learned something from this video. Any tips or content suggestions you'd want to see, make sure to leave them in the comments below. I have started streaming over on Kick every day, so if possible, if you do want to sort of see my process and how I cook up and everything live, feel free to go check me out over on Kick. Link will be in the description. Chuck me a follow and I promise you won't regret it. So finish beat incoming and I'll see y'all in the next one.
Hey Manny, you got one right here.